hey there, Wildcat fans, and welcome to another LC Coaches show. And sadly, unfortunately, it is the final one of the football season as we chat here with our football coach, Justin Charles. I'm Brad Welburn, and it's plenty of things to still discuss, even though it is our last show of the season. We've had a lot of fun throughout the year, kind of dissecting the team and all that sort of stuff. But before we get into some off-season stuff and kind of talk about what's we're expecting for 2018, we still have that game against Howard Payne to talk about, which I don't think we could have ended on a better note, obviously with the win,
Right.
which is first and foremost, very much so. But with the way the team played, especially in the second half, I mean, you made some adjustments, which we'll talk about, that really limited Howard Payne's offensive firepower and that sort of thing. But what did it mean to you as a coach to see those guys come out and play the way they did, especially after how well they played against Mary Hardin Baylor, to get the win and to finish the season on a kind of a high note?
Oh, right. I mean, as a coach, it's great to see that the best games that we play throughout the year is the later games, because that means we're getting better as a team, getting better as units, and just they're starting to take a grasp of what we've been coaching all year. And it definitely is satisfying to know that our kids are getting better throughout the year and not just withering down with the way the season could have easily went. So, but we're definitely excited that our kids got to experience a good win at the end of the season and just finished on a strong note.
Yeah. Talk about some of the specifics of the game. I guess we'll start with maybe a little bit of offensive talk. Wayne kind of started off a little bit rough there in that first quarter. It seemed like his throws weren't quite certainly what we've seen him be able to make, a little bit in front, behind the receivers and that sort of stuff. But he seemed to definitely pick it up in that second quarter and played very well throughout the rest of the game. Yeah,
offensively we came out and, we both sides of the ball, if you ask me, we started off pretty slow in certain areas. But, speaking of the quarterback position, Wayne, he had a great game overall, but he did start off very slow, and I think it's definitely a tribute to what they did, the opposing team did. Howard Payne came out and they kept him off balance, moving some guys around and playing different coverages and playing different fronts. And so it kept him off balance, but he was able to get that spark late in the second quarter and start playing a little bit better. And, the receivers started making some catches for him down the road. And so, but overall, offensively, we came out and played a great game, especially like you said in the second half. So there was definitely there's no complaints about how we finished.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun to watch, and and we kind of talked about it during the broadcast, the way that even though Wayne struggled early, he was still able to get the ball to a lot of different players. I think like 5 or 6 guys had 2 or 3 catches. I know 4 guys had at least 4 catches in the game, and 4 different touchdown passes to 4 different guys. So definitely, I guess, a typical Louisiana college offense. You have a lot of weapons. Get your quarterback to get the ball to their hands, and that's what he did.
Right. He got the ball to a lot of guys' hands. I want to say, like 8 guys that touched the ball, receivers, which is great because we had 7 seniors at the receiver spot. So we made sure every single one of those guys got a touch in some form, fashion, or way. And but it was good. We did, like you said, play the offensive game plan that we came into and wanted to do, and practiced all week. And so that's what he did.
And then on the other side of the ball for us, this guy from Howard Payne, he's legit. The running back.
3 more years of that, man.
Yeah, that's what's scary about it. He runs hard and he runs fast and he is powerful, and he showed that definitely in the first half. But so what were the adjustments, I guess, that y'all kind of made at halftime? I mean, he made maybe a couple plays in the second half, but not nearly to the level that he was in the first half.
Well, we didn't really change what we were doing. Honestly, we just told our guys, hey, you can't tackle a 220-pound running back that runs a 4.5 high. So we had to make sure we tackled him at the thigh level and just worked on that a little bit better, and then just working on some of our angles to tackle a guy like that. So that's the only things we really changed. Nothing game plan wise. We just changed the angles that we were tackling that guy, and it definitely helped us out in the second half. But our kids were up to the challenge. And one thing that I think we talked about it last week, it's hard for anybody to go out there and play at Howard Payne. Yeah. And it was their senior day, and those guys were very motivated, and they came out and they hit us in the mouth. They did. And so our guys just kept on responding, and that was the challenge all last week.
And I think that was definitely evident. I guess it was either the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, somewhere around there, where Howard Payne, they were a little bit behind, maybe a couple touchdowns or so they're trying to kind of work their way back in the game, decided to go for it on 4th down, 3 consecutive drives, and for 3 consecutive drives, the defense comes up with a big stop, and then after that 3rd one, we kind of get that touchdown that really kind of put the game away. So I know that was a big series of events and drives for the defense.
Yeah, it was huge. Anytime you get a 4th down stop or a takeaway, that motivates not just the defense, that motivates a team, because there's a lot of energy that it takes to stop a team on 4 consecutive downs like that on 3 different series. So it definitely motivated our guys. The offense came out and had some sparks off of that. Special teams had some sparks off of it. So it was just a whole team effort in that aspect of it.
Yeah, and really before we finish up this, I want to mention a couple guys because they had some spectacular games. You had Aurel Lede was named co-defensive player of the week, had 21 tackles, a career high for him. DeMatty had 16 or so tackles in the game as well. Josh Pickett had 2 interceptions, including a 90-yard touchdown return for an interception for a touchdown.
Know how he didn't get caught.
It looked about at the 20, 30-yard line. He was like, those legs are getting heavy there, but he made it. So talk about those guys specifically. I know a couple of them seniors, one of them, I guess, senior. Aurel and Pickett will be back, but just the way that they were able to, have one of their best games of the year and at the end. And
man, those guys, when you talk about Aurel Lede and Ryan DeMatty and Josh Pickett and even Cade Maxwell and Brian Zimmer, because those guys were all over the quarterback and all in the backfield that game too. Those guys are what Louisiana college football is about. They come in, they do what's right in the classroom. We don't have to worry about those guys off the field. But those guys finished strong, and I think it was probably the first game all year where they were all healthy at the same time too, and so it definitely showed. Those last 2 games when those 5 guys right there were healthy, man, we were a lot better on defense. So, but those guys, they're just special players, man, and special guys on and off the field.
Yeah. All right, let's move into kind of the off-season plan, so to speak. I know you guys are already out recruiting. It's a big time with the high school football playoffs kind of going on around the state and that sort of thing. So talk about what the game plan is as a whole as you kind of prepare and not only prepare the guys that will be back next year, but also try to bring in some new guys that'll help fill what is 25 essentially vacant spots that the seniors will be leaving.
Right. We've already had a team meeting, our end of the year team meeting. We've already been on the road recruiting, throughout the season, and definitely heavier this week. All the coaches are gone except for me. I'm still here. But one thing that what we're looking for going into this new season, which actually started now, is what we told those guys. It's commitment, and that's the word that we're looking for. And then with commitment, we're challenging our guys. They're like, well, yeah, I'm committed, but we don't want you to say, hey, you're just committed. We want you to show us that you're committed, and that's off of your attitude, how you approach things day in and day out, your effort that you give day in and day out, on and off the field, especially in the classroom, and then for the love of the game, because everybody loves to win football games, but you got to love to go to practice too. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves to get an A in class, but you got to love to go to class too. So, and those are the things that we're really looking for. And if you can do those 3 things, you can show us that you're committed to not just this football program, but being a better man in life and being more, more suited to be what you want to be down the road, with your degree and everything. And so as we go out recruiting, we're preaching those things as well, because our upperclassmen now understand that after we had a sit-down talk on Monday, what we're looking for and what we need to do to get better as far as the commitment aspect of it. So as we go out recruiting, we're talking to every single kid that we want and saying, hey, you got to be committed, and this is how we're going to know that you're committed to this program. And so, and if we feel like it's a guy that's not committed, hey, we'll move on to the next, because there's a lot of football players in Louisiana that we're going to go after. A lot in this area, a lot across the state, some in Texas, all over the place. So, but just real commitment 18 is what we're looking for.
Yeah, you can. If you follow the LC football Twitter, you've already seen that hashtag and everything. So they'll be using that as they prepare through this off season and into next year. So it's you hear it here first. That's what LC football is about. It's what LC is kind of about as a whole. So it definitely something to be involved with and be a part of for sure. So what's the plan for the guys that are already here that will be back next year? I know they'll have their kind of off-season off-season workouts that they do on their own before spring football starts at the end of March, I think is what you told me?
Middle March.
Middle March. So what's the plan from, I guess, now until then? I think they have a little bit of a break, and then they'll kind of start back getting ready for spring.
Look, we just expect those guys to be in the weight room working out, getting some running in on their own and doing things like that. But those guys have to really buy into getting better. You know, everybody, we're talking with them when we get back from the Thanksgiving break as far as exit interviews and talking to every single one of them individually, because we want to know where they stand within this program, and we're going to tell them where they stand, you know, because we want to be upfront with everything. But we're going to let them know, okay, these are your deficiencies. These are the things that you do well, and so let's make the things that you lack on as high as you possibly can to move towards you being better on this football program and in this team and on this campus and in the community, things like that. So that's just what we're talking with our kids about and making sure that we become better as a whole.
All right, folks. Well, it's been a real pleasure all year long to get to talk with Coach Charles every single week. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily maybe the season that we hoped it was on the record, but I think there was a lot of growth and transition and all that sort of stuff. And I think the guys that will be back and these seniors, they will remember this year for a lot of reasons, for sure, outside of the win-loss record. Right. So. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember to follow them on Twitter, LC_FTBALL, FT football, you get it. And then they're on Instagram as well. Facebook, you can follow General Athletic News, LC_Wildcats, LCWildcats.net. We're all over the place, so you can find what you need to know about LC football. Look for the coaches around the state as they go out recruiting and looking for the next crop of Wildcats to join us here in Pineville. So, Coach, thanks for joining me again this week. I'm Brad Welburn. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.